Hey guys, what's up? Jeff Black here, pro glamour photographer out of Tampa, Florida, welcoming you back to howtoshootmodels.com. Today what we're going to talk about is extremely important. If you watch any of my videos and you don't pay attention to them, which I hope you do, this is the one that you need to pay attention to. All kidding aside, I know I joke a lot with my videos and things like that, but this one is very serious. This is about model release forms. Model release forms are absolutely essential. You need to look at a model release form as being part of your photo shoot, like NASA would look at certain elements before the spaceship takes off. You need to CYA. You need to cover your ass. And let me give you a few situations where you think you may not need a model release form and it comes back to bite you in the ass. Here's a good example. You buddy up with a girl you're friends with through work or through social situations, whatever. She loves taking pictures. You guys are taking pictures, you're practicing different techniques. She's your go-to girl, man. And go-to girls are great. I encourage every one of you to find a go-to girl. Every time you want to try a different lighting technique, it may wind up sucking, but this girl's your go-to girl, and she's willing to come in and she figures, hey, maybe I'll get one or two good shots out of this. So you've got your go-to girl, you're doing all these shots of her. You're loading your picture up to your website, or she's loading the pictures up to her MySpace or her website or something like that. Everything's cool, everything's smooth, and let's say, a couple of years go by, she starts losing some interest in the modeling. It was fun at the time, but, she's moving on. Okay, well, that happens, still maybe not an issue. Now, all of a sudden, she gets this new boyfriend, or fiance, or husband, and this is the psycho boyfriend, fiance, husband. He's insecure, and now all of a sudden, he's coming after you saying, hey, listen, you single-handedly, ruined my girlfriend's reputation, blah, blah, blah. I need you to remove these pictures from your site. Well, you know what? I mean, you don't have a legal leg to stand on. You're going to have to remove those pictures, because if they did want to pursue it legally, although you are the copyright owner, you do not have authorization, ultimately, in writing from that model to use those pictures. So that may come back to bite you in the butt. And, that's a little bit of a stinger, and it's probably more of just a headache than anything. But, let's crank that situation up to the next level, where now, you may run into some serious legal consequences. And let me preface this by saying, the internet is full of unscrupulous, unethical people. And for any of you guys, photographers out there that I'm talking to, if you've ever been on like an adult dating website, something like that, if you're foolish enough to think that all the girls on that site and those pictures actually belong to those girls, you're on a different planet, man, because that's not the case. Trust me, it's not the case. I've had experience with this, with my pictures winding up in the wrong place. But okay, so if the girl isn't actually the girl in the picture, where did the picture come from? Well, one possible explanation would be, let's say Susie decides she wants to join this adult, dating website, but she doesn't have any good pictures, or she's not good looking. Maybe she's got a girlfriend named Kim that's very hot, who's got all these great pictures, so she says, hey, Kim, can I borrow your pictures, because I want to put your pictures up on this website so I can start dating people. What are the odds of that happening? I mean, probably 1,000,000,000 to 1. So if that's not happening, where are these pictures coming from? Well, these pictures are stolen pictures. Where are people stealing these pictures from? They're stealing them from, photography websites. They're stealing them from MySpaces. They're stealing them from all different places. But here's what could happen to you. You don't have a model release form. You do a photo shoot of some girl and you're buddy with her, you're emailing her pictures, she's loving the pictures, she starts posting these pictures on her MySpace page or something like that. Now she's clueless, she doesn't know that there's unscrupulous people out there on the internet, Somebody goes on, there's predators on MySpaces and, websites like that steal pictures. So they go on, they see some hot pictures of this girl, they take these pictures, they may use them on an adult dating website or any type of adult site or an escort site or something like that. Well, what happens when this model that you shot, you've done nothing wrong, aside from email her a couple of pictures. Now all of a sudden she's coming back legally after you, and now this becomes a true defamation of character and whatever other legalese lawyers can come up with to come after you with. Now, you did nothing wrong, but there's no way to protect yourself. I've seen situations like this happen. I've been part of situations like this that have happened to me in the past. And I was fooled by, these girls that I was friends with, these go-to girls, something like that. Well, I don't need a model release form. We've done everything, on a verbal agreement, like, hey, do you mind me using your pictures? Oh, no, go ahead. And, they're great. And they wind up in the wrong places. Well, again, like I said, this can cost you an arm and a leg. Legally, it can cost you potentially your career. People, start spreading the word that, you're the slimeball photographer, you're selling images to adult websites of these girls, and what you need to understand about this glamour photography is it's a very, very small world. If you're a slimeball photographer, it's not going to take long before you're made. These models talk, if you're doing, sleazy stuff on the shoots, it's getting back to these girls, but, let's stick at the task at hand with these model release forms. If you don't cover your ass with these model release forms, again, like I said, it can potentially come back to harm you. Another way that could seriously impact you is there's what's known as 18 USC 2257. And this is a law that was made by the government, and really, essentially what it's for is to protect against child pornography. Now, let's say for the sake of argument, you've got a website, you've got galleries in there, and you've got nude pictures of your models in these galleries. Seems like harmless, right? You're an artist, you're displaying your work, you mean no ill will by it, you're not doing anything sleazy, and let's say the government all of a sudden just picks you out of the crowd and says, listen, man, I need for you to prove to me that all of your models are over the age of 18 and what documentation you have to prove that. Well, if you don't have a model release for that girl, you can't go after the fact and get that model release form. So you have to protect yourself. Now, I don't know what legal ramifications, would be imposed upon you given that happened, but it would not be pretty, man. I don't know if, a typical photographer with, just a regular website with some artistic nudes pictures on it, if the government's actually coming after you, but heaven forbid they do, or, something changes, 5 years from now where they're tracking websites with nude pictures on it, you need to be covered. And the only way that you're going to be covered is if you have a solid model release form that is compliant with USC 2257. You could probably look on the internet, maybe find a model release form, but I caution you with using those because it may not cover every base that you need. You can go to howtoshootmodels.com. You can download this model release form on the site, and it is compliant. It's everything that the government is looking for. So I would say it's a pretty good investment. It's not very expensive, but it's going to cover you in the long run. So take a look at that. In addition to the model release form, when you go about using it, what you need to do is as soon as the shoot starts, you bring your model in, you need to take a picture of her, you need to take a picture of her ID, and ideally you'll need two IDs. You need a driver's license and another photo ID or a social security card. But the catch to this is you have to shoot this in RAW. You can't shoot this in JPEG because the theory with a JPEG image is that I could take that into Photoshop, I can manipulate the dates on it, save it as a JPEG, which is a picture, and it's not real. RAW is the true data of that picture. So when you bring your subject in, Before you get the model release form signed, have her hold an ID right next to her face, take that picture in RAW, keep that in your file with your signed model release form, with a copy of the IDs, you're going to be safe. So, take my advice, play safe.